More smaller-scale contracts for the Buffalo Sabres as free agency is fully underway. Aidan McDonough signs a one-year, two-way contract with the club. And for more on the last couple of days, Paul Hamilton does his pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. We'll touch base with Paul in a little bit at 4. There was also the 3-on-3 tournament to wrap up development camp. And then Sal Capaccio is going to join the show later today at 5. Staying with hockey, the Capitals got some good news today. Alex Ovechkin signing a one-year deal with the team after some speculation the 40-year-old would call it a career. And then late last night, John Carlson signs with Tampa, 2-year deal, $8.5 million per year. To the World Cup, games are starting right now. First up, it's Spain versus Austria in L.A. at 7 o'clock, Portugal versus Croatia in Toronto, and the night will wrap up late at 11. Switzerland, they go up against Algeria over in Vancouver. The U.S.'s next game, that's going to be on Monday. They'll take on Belgium, the team they fell to in 2014 in Seattle. While in baseball, Bison's at St. Paul tonight with first pitch just after 8 o'clock, and you can listen to that one over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think that's a very good attitude.
It's Mike Schopp.
You don't think? You don't think? I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box.
You know who you're talking to?
It's the Bulldog.
I'm talking to the juice box guy.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty.
Why don't you go to hell?
No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box?
I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you
It's
are.
Mike
I'm not.
Schopp
Yes, you
and the
are.
Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
You know what sounds great right now? A juice box.
I was thinking a tub full of ice cubes. And,
A tub
and
of ice.
water. A tub, like one of those, cold tub, I think is what they call it.
A polar bear swim.
Could use a cold tub.
Ever done that?
No.
I have once.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What was it, like December, January, February? Like what time of the year did you do this in?
It was summer. It was not an ice cube.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
It was not an ice
here.
box. But it was billed as a polar bear swim at a lake in Canada where it was not, up to summer water temperatures. And it was like first thing in the morning, let's go. And it was maybe, there was no ice on the water, but it was cold.
This feels...
That's not a polar bear swim? What do you need it to be? Let me know what you need it to be.
I need it to be like there's snow on the ground.
Really?
And yeah, polar bear swim in the summer. That sounds like a pretty liberal use of polar bear.
Well, what? Polar bears don't swim in the summer? They're not
I don't
using
know,
the water?
but the idea of the polar bear plunge is that, oh, I can't believe these people are stripping down into swimsuits and going in the water.
That's what that was.
But
it was not
in the summer.
winter.
How cold could the water
I
have
had no
been?
say over what time of year it was going to be. I was at summer camp. They usually have summer camp in the summer.
You
what can I
took
say?
part in a bastardization of the polar.
It wasn't. You would say it wasn't a polar bear swim. It was a swim.
You're right. You really can't count on anything anymore. All the things that are good, just trampled on, ignored.
It is
wrongly represented in our society.
It is hotter in here than that other time.
It is. Yeah,
you want to watch today to see if you can see the sweat.
Yeah.
With due respect to people who work outside. A lot of people have it worse.
Yeah.
They don't have a bright light on their face.
No.
Necessarily, but unless you want to call the sun. Is that okay?
Yeah, this is not
Is the sun hot enough for you?
Yeah. This is not a vocation that generally you are required to I don't think we get paid any extra for, heat or for working in hot conditions, nor do we get dinged for having air conditioning. We're an indoor operation. We've got air conditioning that's clearly not working. It's a holiday weekend on tap here, and it is 81 degrees.
Oh, right. We have it measured.
It says 81. Yeah.
81 in here?
Yeah. Usually,
That's not great.
no, that's hot for a small room with two grown men talking.
Bearded
for,
men.
You know,
In fact, at
for
that.
3 hours.
Bearded, hairy men.
Bearded, hairy men. I did not think to. I was warned about this yesterday,
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, though.
and it wasn't that bad. And I didn't get any such warning today, so I did not dress. Yesterday, I wore a darker shirt that I thought wouldn't show sweat if I started sweating through my shirt. I'm just telling you right now, Twitch, YouTube, you people, like this shirt I'm wearing today is gonna. If it doesn't cool off at all, I'm gonna be looking like a pig.
Well, I mean,
Doesn't seem
the anticipation is
people can't
is
wait.
massive.
Yeah. Usually it takes until we get going, and sometimes like the adrenaline of the first segment, and I know that might sound ridiculous to people out there, but whatever. This is, this is where the juice is when we start talking.
Energy.
Right, energy, whatever, thinking I'm up in my chair, I'm ready to go. And sometimes that adrenaline will produce, even if it's not real hot in here, I'll get hot. What did I say to you before we started? I'm like, I'm already sweating.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't even done it. I haven't even thought about anything. And I'm already, there's a sheen on my arms.
Well, if we're going to use subject matter as a factor, a variable in how hot we're going to feel. Yesterday, why is this broken? Yesterday was one thing with the Sabres didn't do anything that you liked. They didn't do anything of import.
Right.
I gotta get in on the red card.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's top of mind.
It's one thing, you're gonna love the setup. It's one thing if it's called in the course of play. It's another when, yes, play is stopped and we sit around for 5 minutes.
About that, it seemed, yeah.
And then they come out with the red card, and it's replay time. It's replay time already, but you're looking at from all the different angles, just screen grabs of the contact between the two players. You know what that was? I think
an accident.
I mean, right. I mean, in my house, we were all bent about the number of times jerseys were being held.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't that automatically be a card?
It seemed like
when you see somebody grab a jersey and hold it.
half a dozen instances of that in the first half of the match that were not. I said match like I'm cool. The game that were not called.
That seems automatic.
Yeah.
That's something that's not something that would naturally happen in a soccer game, but you go out of your way to grab and hold the jersey.
And not something you would even ever need replay to confirm for you. Like you're watching the match.
Pretty much.
That is not the person usually that gets grabbed has the ball, and they're running past another dude, and it's like somebody does that in a football game. Of course, that's a flag. I mean, they miss it occasionally, I suppose, like in a American football game. So yeah, those seemed like easy calls to make, and none of them got made. And then that happens, and it's the whole thing.
It's really just talking into the abyss, replay. But that's a classic example of how screwed up it is, and how everyone's internationally. This is the World Cup. Every sport now has replay. It seems any niche sport has. I mean, amateur sports have. Often, usually, some mechanism where plays can be challenged and rules can be changed or decisions can be changed. And as futile as it always feels to rail against the get it right majority, I think it's a majority. It's certainly politically how sports are always going in that direction.
Sure,
more and
right,
more.
Right.
Money and effort spent in being able to change calls, it's just so wrong. That was a regular play that happens all the time in a soccer game. And in this case, it means that our best guy, or goal scoring wise, our best guy has to miss
very important guy.
the next game because we stopped everything on a close one and found a picture of him stepping on the Bosnian's foot. And that was it. I think Balogun. I think that picture is Brandon Cooks with the ball on the ground in Denver.
Right.
I think you have to sign up for both or neither.
Right.
You can't have, you cannot be, listen, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. You have no right to, that should not have been a red card and Cooks caught it. You have no right to both. We found a picture of Balogun stepping on the foot. Watch it at full speed. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a foul, but it's not. You're kicked out of the game and the next one.
Right.
You can say that. You can support the decision. If you do, if you don't, watch the continuation of the play in Denver, where he has the ball, and yes, look, there's a picture.
He's on the
look,
ground.
Everyone,
the
look,
defender
Twitter.
touched him.
Hey, Twitter.
Right.
Hi, I'm out here. I found a picture that 10,000 other people have already shared of Brandon Cooks on the ground with the ball. Therefore, that's a catch. No, it's not. It wasn't then.
Right.
It won't be next time. Sometimes it will be because they don't always get it right or agree or it's not easy. That's part of the problem. It's really hard, as it has been forever, to parse these plays and feel, listen to this. When are you old enough? If you're a younger adult, replay has been ubiquitous. It's part of your entire life watching sports.
You've never experienced big-time sports without it. Right?
No. And it's just sort of part of it. It's ingrained. It's a necessary evil. Or maybe you don't think it's an evil at all. You can't even imagine, perhaps, sports without that sort of backup, that safety net, where if a call is missed, you have instant replay. Of course, logically, though, in football, say, take football or soccer. Soccer seems at least as good of an example. There are, dozens of infractions in games that are not called. And there's no move. There's no
recourse at all.
Recourse for it.
Yep.
All the penalties that don't get called just don't get called. And football has dabbled, and it's going to get worse forever. It'll always be getting worse.
Yeah.
Football has dabbled in, you want to see some sweat? Football has dabbled in, let's try to make it work so we can review penalties. And that didn't get very far, but they still want it. I think everybody, remember, I'll never forget Tim Murray, Sabres now, talking about the offside challenge. And he was like, he condescended. He's like, you guys have never lost a game because of a bad call.
Right.
Like, that's not the right point.
No.
Whether you work for a team or root for a team, it's the same. Like, it's not about that. It's about the balance between what's like sort of reasonable and what effect it has on the fan experience. You wouldn't exist if not for the fans. But the soccer one last night is a different point. That's an unnecessary stoppage and decision that really was not fair and needed really at all. This wasn't any sort of violent act. That guy Balogun does seem to be maybe a tough one for an official because he was always complaining. That was maybe the 8th time in that game where he was, and that's Harry Kane. I think there are certain guys, and we don't always know who they are, and they can maybe get into officials. They can become a problem for an official. Yeah. But I don't know. But
even still,
clear and obvious. Yeah. What happened to clear and obvious? Meaningless delays. We all just sit around and wait. Belgium's penalty to win. See it?
I did not.
So it's 2-2, and they're almost to penalty kicks, Senegal. And here's this play. It's really close. The announcers go on for minutes about how close it was and no suggestion of a foul. And then, hang on. We're going to look at this. The Fox rules analyst, is it ever different with the rules analyst? The rules analyst walks in and they ask him, so Dr. Joe, you got to have an MD for this. You got to be doctor. You got to be qualified. Dr. Joe, what is this? Like, that's not a foul. Penalty. Game over.
You're advancing. You're going home. Yeah.
I mean, you are at least as militant about this as I am. It's never going to change. It's only ever going to get worse. All the BS you can take, every one of these replays and more. And yeah, like it's like a lot of things. Last point. It's like a lot of things in sports where my stuff with fourth downs and 2-point conversions, like all that stuff where announcers, because they're ex-players, all tend to hate it because that's not how they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work, Troy Aikman, so all of them, like almost all of them, not all of them, if it doesn't work, you'll never hear the end of it. If it does, you'll never hear it mentioned again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think replay is a form of this, where if it's, not used and there's some sort of an egregious mistake or something, it's like, oh, wow, how did they not get out VAR?
They should have had some mechanism in place to make sure that they got that right.
Right. But this one last night, all the complaining is not about replay, because we can't live without that. It's about the decision itself.
To review it at all.
The outcome of the red card through replay, it's like, well, how could that be a red card? And you can't even now then what'd you get after the game? Oh, we can't even review the review? There's no appeal. We
right.
can't now we are pissed because we can't review the review.
There's no process formally for the only thing that I from what I've gathered over the last 12 hours or so is that FIFA could rescind it, but they have to just do that independent. Like there's no formal, like the USA doesn't get to go in front of a panel and frame by frame or whatever. FIFA would have to decide that was unjust. And to do that now would probably look ridiculous. Maybe as ridiculous as calling the foul in the first place. Even though it might be the more just outcome, it's going to look biased and messed up. So I wouldn't expect that they're going to do anything about it. I guess they could, but there's no, like, oh, Gary Bettman says I got 5 games, I'm appealing, and maybe I can get it knocked down to 3. Like, there's no process that exists. The only thing that you haven't said that I thought, because I thought all of the things, for many
yes.
years. I've said for years, I put on my gravestone, like, instant replay is a scourge or something. It's not that we're any longer in a place, I don't think we are, where, you've made the mention of this person in Rochester in the newsroom at the DNC saying, for the 30th year in a row, soccer's the fastest growing sport in America. Like, I don't know that we're still in the streets fighting the war about soccer. The tournament's been a spectacle. The ratings have been great. It's been off the charts successful, I think, despite all the hand-wringing about the tickets and transportation ahead of time. I think it's been great. Fans from other countries are raving about the experience they're having, and it just seems like overall just a huge positive. And it's like soccer, I don't think needs our help anymore, like being propped up. But it made me think, could this be good for soccer? Because we love all our sports like this, where there's these stupid rulings, and then we argue about them, and that somehow keeps us tethered to the sport because we're talking about, I'm mad. Well, I'm mad. I have an emotion. I'm going to do something about it. What is that? Probably watch the next game. It doesn't usually mean I'm walking away from it. Let's see what they do now, or I don't even know. But somewhat ironic that the American team in this tournament, hosting this tournament, is on the wrong end of a call that, we live with this 10 times a weekend in the NFL, or 5, whatever. Like every Monday or Tuesday, did you see this thing that happened in the New England-Jacksonville game? Like, there's always stuff. And here on the biggest, well, it's not the biggest stage possible because there's still more rounds to go, but huge stage, and you've got like a replay complaint that does the United States wrong. And something about it just seems sort of funny to me.
Well, really, it very well could affect the next game.
For sure.
But
yeah,
my macro problem with it is now you have baseball balls and strikes. And you're right, the other day or yesterday when you said, at least it moves pretty fast. And, tennis is the gold standard, I guess, for this because it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they don't even challenge anything anymore in tennis. Like they don't even have linesmen anymore. What's funny is
It's just on the screen and they tell you.
Yeah, what's funny is they don't even really have that anymore. It's just like all done in the back.
Okay.
You hit a ball and it's called out, you feel like it's out.
Okay. Right.
So, and there are no lines people. They've all been removed. It's all just done in an office. And what's funny is that the calls that you hear in the arena or on the broadcast are different voices based on which line it is. They're still kind of representing there are different people somewhere in the world making these calls, but there's actually no one except for a computer. And if it's the service line, it's like a guy. And if it's the left sideline, it's a woman. It's like, it's funny that it's not all just, a beep or something. They're still disguising it on the premise that there are actually people doing it. The point I was going to make, though, balls and strikes, VAR in soccer. How many games do these teams play in their leagues, in their seasons, where it really is necessary to have a home plate umpire challenged on a ball that might have missed the strike zone by 3/4 of an inch? I mean, just how ridiculous is that? But it's just the wind always blows the other way. I never hear anybody say it. You get 162 games, and we have more playoff teams than ever. Did you need that second inning reversal at the plate in a game against the Brewers? Really? Is that so important? So this thing, I think, is more of an outrage because the guy misses a game. It's one thing to play a man short for 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But now here's their top goal scorer, and he misses the quarterfinals, like the biggest game in the history of the national team.
I have known that rule about the red card, but for some reason watching it took me until maybe they made it 2-0 for me to realize, like, oh, this doesn't just mean they had to play a man down because, okay, well, they escaped. They got another goal. They're going to win this match. Okay, great. Oh, wait a second.
They never said it.
Right.
They never said it.
I had to realize it on my own.
It waited until Rebecca Lowe.
Yeah.
When the game was over for it to be said. As far as I know, my wife didn't hear it. We were talking about it throughout the second half. Like, he can't play the next one.
Right.
And that would have been the first thing out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Is not only do they have to survive this game, but he can't play the next one. They never said it. Maybe they were superstitious. I mean, do your job.
Yeah.
And I love those guys, but I never heard them say once, like they almost didn't know that he would miss the next game. The game ends, U.S. wins. It goes to Rebecca Lowe, and she's like, now they're going to have to play without him. Like, a lot of people, I'm sure, went, oh, yeah, right.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Just that makes it – that's more where the call becomes the controversy. But I want to make it about the whole thing. Arsenal won the Premier League. Do they not? But for VAR? Like, how many goals would have had to be resurrected, changed in the course of a 38-game season? Baseball plays 162 games, and we got to sit around waiting for umpires. I know it's fast. I just resent the premise of it. If an umpire misses a call, isn't that okay? Can that be okay anymore?
Used to be, yeah.
If it's strike 2 in the 5th inning of a game in Texas, can we just move on and not stop everything and scream at the wind for how bad it was? It was outside by a whole inch. It's never going to go the other way. That thing last night never should have happened. Call the red card on the fly. Stepped on his foot. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
At least do that. Once you don't do that, that should be it.
Yeah,
you and I alternate with this rant.
Yeah,
I decided to take a turn today because
I appreciate you.
The replay plague is just never going to stop. And all it does is suck the life out of sports. The Belgium one, it's probably not as bad Because, I mean, they still have to win penalties and who knows. But literally, you got a guy in the booth whose job it is to tell you if it's a foul, and he says it isn't. And you've got Harry Kane diving in the afternoon, and announcers are arguing about whether that was really, that was in the booth and that was in the studio too. They couldn't decide. Then let's just keep playing, which in the England case is what they did.
Right.
They did not stop the game forever and stare at it 10 times looking for clear and obvious.
Just real quick, because, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be expert on what qualifies as a foul that rises to the level of red versus yellow and all that. But just generally speaking, it seems pretty harsh to have a play that looked was it reckless? Can accidental be reckless? I think so, but shouldn't intent matter? Like if you grievously foul someone purposefully, that seems like that rises to the level of red card. Something that is like you're just stepping and it so happens your opponent, the whole thing just did not seem to me. That could have been Spain versus, what are we watching today? Austria. And I feel the same, like, that didn't really seem like violent enough.
He's playing for the ball.
Intentional enough to rise to the level of, not only do you got to get kicked out of this game, you're going to miss the next one.
Right.
That just seems egregious.
What is that? What is the hockey's version of that? Where you, like, miss the next series? What would you have to do? Like, take off your skate and cut somebody's neck with it.
Match penalty it rises to that level, I think, with a game suspension.
But this is like the whole next round.
Right.
He's going to miss the round of 16. I know it's a little bit of a twisted argument because best of 7, but, it's pretty harsh. And it's all just not necessary. Some of us grew up with sports not having these constant stoppages so we can look at every play from every angle, feeling like we're actually getting somewhere. What a joke. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, Paul Hamilton, Sal Capaccio, and in between, Travis Yost. Oh, yeah? You think hockey's over?
We'll show you.
Not yet. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Tillman! It's in! Malik Tillman! 2-0 United States!
I mean, look at this. I've never had a set of headphones go this way.
You got some
go out
you
this
got some
way.
broken stuff there, bud.
I don't know what to do. What do I do with this? Leave it? What do I take them off?
Yeah, that'd be weird.
I could tape it together.
Yeah.
MacGyver it together.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know.
a little break in the. In the first segment, I'm like, "What happened here? This thing broken?"
You keep messing
It
with
was.
you keep messing with it, it's going to break even more.
Or it's gonna. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to sit here looking like this. I don't know. That was the 2-0 goal last night. Pretty good.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't work like this. It's 150 degrees. I got a right headphone cup just dangling from the side of my face here, and you're all here for it.
We just had a goal by Spain taken down for a foul on the goalkeeper. By the way,
Against
in this
against the
afternoon's
goalkeeper.
in this afternoon's game. Yeah.
I didn't see that it was reviewed.
No, it just seemed very.
What will happen
it was
to the
very
world?
Quick. Yeah, there was not a VAR situation there, unless they just told the guy. It's like Sky Ref, you know.
They have that
with the right. So maybe no. I couldn't tell.
One of the first things I heard at this tournament was they can reverse a corner kick call, but not in the other direction. So if you think you earn a corner, but it actually went off the forward's
The
boot.
attacking player's boot.
Thank you. Then they will change it to a goal kick, but they will not do the other. They will not turn a goal kick into a corner kick. Why?
I don't understand that either. Yeah, no.
Is it? See, it just never ever changes. Why isn't right paramount? Why would it be one but not the other? I'm so distracted. Why would it make any logical sense to have the mechanism to change a corner kick to a goal kick but not the other way around? Wouldn't it happen about as often?
You'd think.
You'd think it's like a close call.
Yep.
Somebody makes it. Don't we want goals? Wouldn't it be sort of in that sense also just as good to have?
I did not know this. I didn't know either case. I didn't know that either one was something you could, review. So I was not aware of that.
There is tape right here.
I guess I haven't really seen that.
I'm going to attempt it.
Oh yeah, during the segment, absolutely.
No.
That seems like a great idea.
No,
Let's go for it.
not during the segment. But I can't sit here with this thing hanging off of my ear like it is. I am.
Well, you get at least a few minutes here.
There really should be. Well, no, we don't. It's not going to mean anything. A list of all the replay nonsense. I mean, why doesn't anybody ever say it? Can we really think football? Keep going, Mike. Football has replay. It's everywhere. They won't use it for like holding because that would just be unmanageable.
There'd be a review every play or every other play.
There
or
could
something.
be,
It'd just would
right?
be horrendous. Yeah.
Penalty calls. Certain ones are okay. We have Space Ref, which is serving as a replacement to the challenge system, and they come in and say, actually, and everybody seems fine. That's no transparency at all, but that's good. So replay is all over the NFL. Yet here it is, decades after they started with replay. The Bill season literally ends on a play where no one can agree on what happened. Maybe we should take a different angle and look at replay, step back, and is it really worth it? That's the question that never gets asked, that should be asked about it. Is it really worth it? And almost everyone says yes, would say yes, because that one time when it's obvious, actually obvious, not just like Terry McCauley's version of clear and obvious or whatever that was meant to be last night. I did hear one of the soccer people use the term clear and obvious.
Yeah.
That it has to be that.
Is it too much to ask that we would get? I don't know. Like, could this is absurd. That what I'm about to suggest, but like, because I don't think it's ever going away. Nor do I think there's enough of a clamor for it to go away. Right? I think even if there was more clamor, I still think they would. I think we'd lose the fight no matter what. But could we not just like try a season, a month of a season, a week of a season? In the NFL or in hockey or in whatever, in any sport you want, pick whichever one's your favorite, whichever one drives you the craziest with this stuff, and just maybe it would shut us up if it were just untenable. If stuff were so egregiously wrong that they couldn't fix because they don't have a replay mechanism, maybe we'd all just go, okay, you know what, you guys are right. Actually, now that I see it, because I think I could live with it. We lived with it all these years, but we also didn't have all the angles and all the cameras and everything as clear as it is. And it's a big part of the argument for why it's there is because we can see the mistakes more clearly now, more readily, more quickly, like all of it. And therefore, let's fix it. I don't know. There probably is some league out there. Like, I don't know. Did one of the startup football leagues try this? Like, no reviews.
No, did they?
I don't know. I'm asking. Hey, you want me to watch the UFL? That would be a way, maybe, that I would get there.
Interesting.
Like, you're going to ban replay from your game, and we'll see how that goes. I know it's never going to happen, but I would just like to at least have an effort made so that we could maybe see, like, yeah, you know what? I used to feel this way, but I understand now.
What was the Sabres play where somebody got 5 minutes because it has to be 5 minutes for the officials to be allowed to review it?
They'll call a major, and they can then review it and turn it into a minor or even pull the foul back entirely.
There was a play where two Sabres, one ran over the other, maybe against Boston, a playoff play.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a call made against the other Boston or Montreal. Remember? No?
This rings a bell. Yeah, I don't.
But then they looked at it, and it was actually maybe Benson was involved. Where
a teammate's stick instead of the opponent's stick.
High sticking, that's
and
right.
So they just pulled it down.
That's right.
Maybe they called a double minor, and that triggers the review.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Or the major. I one or the other.
Well, no doubt whoever won that series would have lost.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
Had the call not been. Basketball might be the worst. End of games, tenths of seconds. Who did it touch when it went out of bounds?
Mm-hmm.
How did we ever get basketball to a level where it became insanely popular? Was it all just because of Michael Jordan? I mean, how did we ever do that without being able to stop games constantly? Like, we don't stop basketball games enough in the late seconds for timeouts. Now oh man, I just wish I could think of all of them right now. Watching a game, it might have been in the tournament, not in the NBA, but just where, maybe it was, where just like the officials are just staring at that screen, and we're just sitting here waiting to see if there's going to be 0.8 of a second put back on the clock, and everybody seems to think it's in the right. It's for the better. Well, I don't want to just talk about this all day.
I think it was appropriate to stay on it until you get your headphones fixed.
No one's coming. No one's coming. No one's ever doing anything about it.
No one's ever going to save us.
No one's ever going to say you're right. No one's ever going to, like, you got to have instant replay. Why? Why do we have to have instant replay? What we have to have is this tape. What a lucky break that this tape is in. All the random things that are in here for once. There's also Scotch tape over there.
If that's not enough, I got a whole big roll of that crap in my truck too. I just can't.
I'm not going outside.
I don't keep it in the house because if I kept it in the house, I would never know where it is when I need it because someone else would use it and leave it somewhere, and that would make me insane. So for literally 20 years, I have kept a roll of duct tape in the console of my truck. And if I need duct tape in the house, I go out to my truck and I get the duct tape and then I go put it back. That is insane, I know, but I actually do that.
If one of us is going outside, they're not coming back.
Right.
Today. This is our last show together for 18 days.
Holy crap, that's right, because you're off and then I'm going to be off right after you. Oh, that is summer.
Yeah. And I still don't have a contract.
Well, I hope that gets addressed
We'll
while you're
see.
away.
We'll see if that changes. But we'll have Sal later. It looks like Sal was out at development camp today.
I saw pictures, yes.
Pictures of goalies.
Pictures of goalies named Malash.
Malash and Baran.
Right, Marty's son.
Sal's coming on later. Before Sal, Paul Hamilton at 4. See what he thought of today. Yesterday was July 1. Are the Sabres done? At 4 o'clock, almost exactly 24 hours ago, Jarmo Kekalainen had a press conference with clear, let's get out of here and have a beer vibes. And kind of that was it. There was a minor signing today, Aidan McDonough. So maybe Paul will know something about him. But not any. We're not replacing Alex Tuck here.
Rochester guy. Another Rochester
Rochester
guy.
needs players too.
Another Rochester forward. So
Travis will be really good on the sum total of all of it, as always. And as I said, Sal today as well. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
How's it going over there?
It's a little better.
It's not dangling, I guess.
That's what I was just about to say. It's not dangling. It doesn't fit.
Yeah, no.
But, I mean, I would be, this is actually not that common, at home, decided to try to fix something, it would take me longer to find what I needed than it took me to do this sitting here, because for some unknown reason, there's electrical tape and a big screwdriver sitting. I didn't have to get up.
That's my point about leaving the duct tape in my truck so I know where it is when I need it.
We have tape and a screw. What happens in here when we're not here?
I don't know.
Why are there any of these things? Maybe for this reason. There also are 4 pairs of headphones that also are within reach.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can explain that is a big flathead screwdriver too.
Yes.
Work on your carburetor size screwdriver. The duct tape maybe was to keep the carpet in place before we got new carpeting.
Oh, might be. That might be right.
That's the guess.
There was tape on the carpet for many years.
Yes.
That might be the same roll of tape.
Very long time. Yeah. It's the best guess I've got.
The Bisons are in St. Paul, Minnesota this week. Second straight week on the road. They are playing tonight at 8:07. I mean, even in the minors, we need those extra 2 minutes. 8:07. I just don't want to complain about everything. The Bisons are off to a pretty good start in the second half, 5-3.
Okay.
They won yesterday in St. Paul 3-2. Only meeting of the season, this series. Davis Schneider is back down with them from the Blue Jays. He's just not hitting up there. And Sean Keyes went up and homered yesterday. The guy who was bombing home runs for the Fisher Cats.
Right. Yep.
And then came up here for a short bit and hit home runs for Buffalo and went up yesterday.
Only a rest stop here in Buffalo for him. All right.
And he homered, and the Blue Jays need it badly. But they did take the Mets series. And so cool to have a new, interesting, power-hitting prospect.
It took me until just now to realize, like, they're home? They're on the road for a bit here, right? The Bisons. They're not coming home suddenly tomorrow, right?
They're home next week.
Yeah, July 3rd fireworks is the eve of the 4th of July is usually a big thing there, and I can't remember a year where they haven't had that. Yeah, I just realized now that they don't have it. I'm sort of stunned by that.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
On a day where there's a lot of, it seems, I don't know if you're aware, like out there in the world, there's a lot of complaining about the fact that the city of Buffalo will not have any fireworks, like city-provided fireworks, which they have not done for 10 years.
A long time.
But usually the de facto, I think, that like the city firework display is at the ballpark. I mean, it's not city facilitated, but it's downtown Buffalo, and like there you go, there's your fireworks, complete with the BPO and the whole thing.
But not this year.
Yeah, apparently not. No.
Will you be going out for fireworks?
No.
Not this time?
Not this time.
Not this year?
No, I highly doubt it. We are, I think, weather permitting, we are hoping to maybe have a boat day on the 4th of July. My wife and I, we realized we do not have our friends that live out in Boston, Colden, have had a 4th of July party going back to like maybe COVID, like the year after COVID. But they're fleeing. They're going to Portugal or something. They're going away. So like that's off the table. And we realized yesterday we have no 4th of July plans. And I thought, well, forecast, it's not going to be windy, no rain. Like we should maybe do the boat. Is that true? Yeah.
All right.
And that, I doubt it would extend to the point where we're still out on the water when it's fireworks time, because I've never been out on the boat in the dark. I mean, I know we could do it if we really wanted to.
I have many times. Not your boat.
Yeah, so I don't know. But we'll be downtown tomorrow. It's possible we could end up somewhere for fireworks because we've been on the boat all day.
You got a Saturday. We got a Saturday 4th here.
Right.
If that helps. Maybe it just makes everything a little crazier. Paul coming up. We'll talk some Sabres with Paul Hamilton. Also Travis Yost next hour. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
small moves from the Buffalo Sabres as free agency is fully underway. Aiden McDonough signs a 1-year, 2-way contract. And for more on the last couple of days, Paul Hamilton does have pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. And stay tuned. We're going to touch base with Paul coming up next, talking free agency and also the 3-on-3 tournament earlier this morning to wrap up development camp. Also around the NHL, the Capitals got some good news today. Alex Ovechkin signing a 1-year deal with the team. After some speculation, the 40-year-old would call it a career after last season. And goaltender Jakub Dobeš has signed a 3-year extension with Montreal, $5.3 million per year. In the World Cup, just one game going on right now. Spain does lead Austria at the half, 1-0. At 7, Portugal versus Croatia in Toronto. And the night will wrap up at 11, Switzerland. They go up against Algeria over in Vancouver. While for the United States, the next game is going to be on Monday, where they take on Belgium, the team they fell to in 2014 in Seattle. Then in baseball, Bison's at St. Paul. First pitch just after 8 o'clock, and you can listen to that one over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Well, one way to have stayed cool today was to have jumped out to the 3-on-3 Sabres prospects stuff this morning. The Sabres even, maybe it was Pete Gwelly or maybe it was PR or both, tweeted, come on over and beat the heat.
Get a little air conditioning
today.
Right.
If I'm Paul, I might never leave. I don't know. It's over, though, at least now. You have
Right.
some incentive to leave. But, man, I bet it felt pretty good in there today, Paul.
Yeah, it did, and there were a lot of people in there. They had a really nice crowd for it. So it was like what the All-Star game used to look like. It was basically just road hockey, but I think it wound up like 18-15 or something like that. But they got to see a show, and that kind of gives the prospects a chance to show what they can do in that type of a situation where their talent maybe can come out a little bit. But you can't really get too much out of it because at the end of the day, it's not really a hockey game.
Right, yeah. I wanted to ask, it feels a little bit like overreacting to minicamp highlights in football.
Yeah.
Except it's with, younger guys who aren't even really league ready yet. But that said, Paul, you're there, you're making observations as you're watching. What did stand out to you? Again, grain of salt implied in anything you have to say here about. But I'm curious about what Murtka looks like, how much closer he might be to being NHL ready after watching him for a few days, and anyone else that requires or would be deemed in the same group.
Well, we've talked a lot about Adam Kleber, almost being right there with Murtka as far as development and that kind of thing. And the thing with Kleber is they really wanted him to start working on his offense. Well, he worked on his breakaways, I can tell you that. He had 3 breakaways and wound up with a hat trick and put, gorgeous moves on. It was like, wow, where did you pull that out of? I mean, back forehand, backhand, roof. And it was just like some really nice moves that he made. And, he did a good job killing plays, too. I mean, he was noticeable at other ends of the rink, too, in a 3-on-3 format. He skates pretty well, especially for a big man. So he's not behind the times when it comes to skating or anything like that. And so, that was, a good – and even though he didn't get a goal in the 30-some-odd goals that were scored in this thing, their number 1 pick, Ilya Morozov, I liked him a lot. I was sitting with Dan Dunleavy, and I kept commenting to him. I says, look at how he tracks the puck. He causes turnovers. He uses his size and strength to, muscle the guy off, take the puck, and go the other way. Numerous times I saw him do that. And he almost seemed like he made it his mission to go out and play a hockey game and not a skills competition. And, to show that, hey, I'm not going to get scored on when I'm out here. I'm going to cause some turnovers when I'm out here. I'm going to show that I can use my size and strength to my advantage. And I liked him a lot.
I want to get back to Kleber for a moment here because I don't know that that's a name. I think certainly a certain level of Sabres fan is very tuned in to who these guys are and where they came from and all that.
It's a level above me.
Okay. Kleber is a second-round pick. This is not like some fly-by-night dark horse guy who's been playing at Minnesota Duluth for a couple of seasons, 6'6", and was named the conference's defensive defenseman of the year, thus the comment about working on his offense, Paul. So this is a big body to go, and another right-handed shot to go along with Mertka, who's been worried about right-handed shots with so many lefties around. There are guys, they're not here yet, obviously, but, they're getting closer. But this is a guy that I think is projected to be an NHL defenseman. Like, there's not much question about that at this point, right, Kleber?
Well, right now I'd have them both ranked against the guy above the guy they drafted. I mean, they are studs, and they're different between Mertka and Kleber. Kleber's filled out. I mean, he's muscular, he's big, he's strong. Mertka still looks like a skinny young kid. I mean, they're the same height, but he still looks like a skinny young kid, and he'll fill out. I mean, he's only 19, so I'm not worried about him at all. But, they look quite a bit different when you look at them out there. And their games are quite a bit different. Mertka does have a lot of offensive flair to his game. He can kill plays where you mentioned, Kleber has already been named Defensive Defenseman of the Year in his league. He's the first sophomore ever to be named that. No sophomore or freshman has ever won that award. So he was the first one to do that. So that shows you maybe where he is at in his growth. And that's a good program that he's in, Minnesota Duluth. So he's going to go back to school for one more year. He felt, especially playing at Duluth, it was a place where he could still grow. And then it sounds like he'll probably come out after that. But if those two stay in the organization, it'll be very interesting to see who winds up in the top four in the Buffalo defense earlier, Mertka or Kleber, because they are both, right now studs. Now they still have to develop, but they are both ticketed for good things in the National Hockey League.
Kleber off to school. So too Daxon Rudolph. He'll be a freshman only?
Right, yeah, at Denver.
Freshman at Denver.
Did you see anything? You said you'd put him behind the two guys you're talking about, but
yeah, just I did. I mean, he had a nice shootout goal. Same thing. He went in and deked the goalie out of his shorts and and made a nice play for a shootout goal. He put a move on a defenseman like right off the bat, right off the puck. He came in and made whoever the defenseman was look absolutely silly and got in on goal. He wasn't able to score on that play. I was watching a little bit. You talk about, well, how were they as a defenseman? Well, this really was more of a 3-on-3. It was like pond hockey. It was like, everybody picked sides in the backyard and went out and played. That's basically what this turned into. So it's hard for me to say, well, this guy really played great defense. He really killed plays out there. It's like, yeah, he also was up at the other blue line yelling for the puck, too. And, so it makes it a little bit tough. But you can see how the fluidness he skates with. The strides are just very easy for him. He's got speed. He can get up ice. It wasn't surprising to me that he did that on the shootout because he is an offensive defenseman. But one of the reasons he was drafted is he also is good defensively, at killing plays too. So they felt he was good at both ends of the ice. It's just this wasn't a format to actually see that.
Right. Before we move off of the defenseman and maybe talk about a couple of the forwards that may have caught your eye or that I just have questions about, one other defenseman that I feel like sort of gets lost in the shuffle, and I mostly say that because he was someone that I didn't really keep track of last year when he went back to juniors, but that's a third-round pick from last year, another big guy, Bedkowski, who to me was he not like voted last year like the best hitter in the OHL or something when they drafted him? I just remember hearing raves about his physicality. What sort of prospect is he, Paul?
He's listed at 6'5", 221. He's a beast. I mean, I think he's grown since they measured him. At 6'5", you should see him out there. No, he's a very good prospect. That they drafted. They were very high on him when they drafted him. He had a good year apparently last year. And another one, that really has people talking is Luke Osborne, who was a 4th-round pick and at Wisconsin. And I kept hearing all about him during the regular season last year. Everybody was raving about him, how he really, has improved his game and now is really you wouldn't think, well, that's a 4th-round guy. You might be thinking that's a 1st-round guy or something like that. So there's a guy that really, since he's been drafted a couple of years ago, has improved his stock. And another guy, that maybe is going to get on their radar.
Well, we know Paul Hamilton on the Western Hotline with us. We're putting the wraps on development camp. We'll get to yesterday's action and how Kekalainen sounded because we talked to Paul before we heard from Kekalainen yesterday. So we're going to get to that. But we know the Sabres have recently, graduated guys that were like the young up-and-coming forwards in Rochester. Roseanne's been traded. Heleneus, Osland, Kulik's been here now already. Wahlberg's sent away in a trade. Forward-wise, like who's the focus on here? I mean, you mentioned Morozov already, draft pick from this year. But I'm thinking maybe about Jake Richard, or is it Richard? I'm sorry.
No, it's Richard.
Richard, okay. Who I think was kind of a darling at this thing last year, if I remember correctly.
Every year he's been here, he has been. It's like, who is this guy? And then he goes and only scores 10 goals at UConn. But, he's going to be one of the forwards down in Rochester that, they're going to be looking. Is his first year in hockey. They re-signed Trevor Kuntar, a guy from this area, as you well know. And, he got a 2-year deal, so he's going to be one of the forwards down there. That's the thing. They just actually Rochester today had a signing, Matthew Pekka, for an AHL signing at forward. And they've got the guys like Connor Sherry and Jason Poland, the guys that they brought in that are there to kind of help the young Amherst, so to speak. That's another thing that they've got like AHL veterans. The guy they just signed today,
McDonough, right?
Aiden McDonough, same thing. So a lot of plus Buffalo has one too many guys. So I don't know if there's not an injury who winds up going. Because they actually have, as I wrote a depth chart, 5 full lines. So I don't know who winds up down in the minors. Is it Kozak? Do they waive Danforth or Carrick or what do they do? There's an extra guy that might wind up in Rochester from that group. And I imagine still there's going to be some signings, And as I mentioned, before free agency started, I know people get, oh, wow, they signed Jason Poland. Wow.
Right, yeah.
They're going to win the Stanley Cup. Now, well, wait a minute, guys. They do have to sign guys for Rochester. That's part of their job. Is they do have to sign some guys for Rochester who you can also call up in an injury type of a situation. So let's not get too crazy here. And they've done that. And who I didn't. Free agency's gone the way I thought it would. I mean, I didn't think they should or would go in there and start overpaying for the people that were actually out there. I mean, if they're going to get better, it's going to have to be by trade. I've never felt that you build a team through free agency, and I definitely feel it now that free agency isn't even what it used to be. And there were a lot of people yesterday who got overpaid. Great. Their teams are going to have to worry about it. But I didn't sit there and go, boy, Buffalo really could have used that guy.
Same. Yeah, I think I told you yesterday, like, so far, that was, at the time, it was 3.5 hours into free agency. I was like, there's not a single move that's happened. And probably were numerous that I was like, thank God we didn't do that. Because we knew for months leading up to it that the class was going to be really, nothing that appealing. I'm not bothered in the least that the Sabres didn't dip in there. And frankly, I'm still not eager for them to do so, even though prices maybe go down. Trade-wise, I just wonder how much action there's going to be. Kekalainen, to my ears yesterday, Paul, sounded like he was ready to go to the cottage. It just sounded like, get me out of here. I'm gone fishing.
I wondered if Paul got a chance to look over there today and see if it was boarded up.
Right.
I didn't see the duck. There's supposed to be Jeremy told me to look for the duck.
They're inflated. The duck is being inflated, Paul.
Okay, I didn't see a
the
duck.
Giant duck, the 10-story duck.
Jeremy had me all fired up to see some large duck rolling around down there, but I didn't see him. So.
That's a symbol? Is that like the end of?
I don't know. The giant inflatable duck goes on tour, and it's been here before, but it will be at the canal side. Yeah, there's
people all go running down to see him. Whatever,
right.
That's fine. Yeah.
I thought you were saying that's like if you see the duck in the window, don't come calling. Like a red flag at Bob Woodward's patio that means he wants Deep Throat wants to talk to him, or some sort of like a inside knowledge symbol. But no, apparently it's just the giant duck at the.
And they've got about 8.7 million, just under 8.7 million available in the cap. Krebs isn't going to. I mean, he might eat up 3 million or so of that. If they want, I don't know how to put this. If they want to sign a guy like Pat Kane, who wants to come here for $3 million to see if he can help your power play. I mean, your power play is on the way to nothing. Lindy Ruff's power plays, if you look back in Dallas and in New Jersey, with the exception of 1 year when they were fourth, I believe it was with Dallas, were awful. Awful. And what I can't get people to understand, everybody wants to blame Seth Appert. Seth Appert coaches Lindy Ruff's power play. Lindy Ruff, that's what they do over the summer. They sit down as coaching staff. They talk about everything, including power play and penalty kill. Lindy Ruff listens to recommendations, and then he decides what they're going to do on the power play, and then Seth Appert coaches it. And Lindy Ruff just has not had good power play since he left Buffalo, and with the exception of that 1 year. So if they want, I wouldn't criticize them if they went out and got Kane. And paid him $3 million for a year, and let him go out there and see if he can help the power play at all. Okay, knock yourselves out. Go for it. I mean, I don't have any desire to see that happen, and I don't have any. Well, if they did it, all right, fine, go for it. See what happens, because that's the kind of move that they have left without getting rid of somebody. They could fit him in if he makes around the money he made last year, even after they signed Krebs.
Paul, so Devin Levi traded yesterday, and if you don't mind my asking, who is now next on the Sabre goalie development chart? I know Marty Braun's son Jacob was a part of festivities this week. He plays at West Point.
He's not in the organization, though. That was just a camp invite. Right.
Yeah, just to mention his name. Mm-hmm. But with Levi gone, if the Sabres were to, who's next in line, I guess, maybe?
Well, in 2022, they drafted Topias Leninen from Finland. He was up and down. He and Scott Ratzlaff, who was a fifth-round pick in 2023, went back and forth. One went to
East Coast
League. Right. The other was in the AHL. Then they'd switch. But Leninen was 41st overall. He was the first goaltender. And they thought they had to take him then because he would be gone. They felt he was the best goalie in the draft. So, his numbers I don't think are going to knock you out from last year, but it was his first, he only got 15 games and 7 with Jacksonville and 8 with Rochester. His goals against was .324 and .348. His save percentage was .880, .855. So that's his first year. He's 22 years old. He'll be 23 in January. So, he's going to be around. And, Ratzlaff, too, is going to be around. Now, I would imagine they're going to sign a veteran goaltender to be with those kids. I don't think they're just going to hand it over. Ratzlaff is 21. And his numbers, as I look, in Jacksonville were pretty good. He had a .913 save percentage. In Rochester, he had an .878 save percentage. He played more. He played 13 games in the AHL and 15 in Jacksonville. So, he will, so those two will be involved. And then, as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a veteran that they, pull in there to be with those two kids.
How, I don't know, Paul, this is a tough question to ask you. Like, what, as you're sitting here today, like, how much on watch are you going to be over the holiday weekend and even into early next week, wondering if, not just with the Sabres, but of course, that's when your phone really buzzes, that there maybe trade activity will pick back up as we've gotten through free agency? Because as Mike kept pointing out while I was, to some degree throwing a fit here yesterday about the inaction and how Kekalainen sounded, none of the big names got moved. No Larkin trade, no Jason Robertson trade, no Hellebuck trade. I don't know who, Matthew Nyes.
Werenski and Columbus kissed and made up.
Yeah, he said, I'm ready to stay, I guess. I don't know what's going on there. Do you think that all just gets shelved? Or, is there another round of action that might sort of bubble up here as we get into the holiday weekend?
Well, I can tell you when the Sabres traded for Jeff Skinner, that was on August 2nd.
Right.
So that was in August. So I think I may have mentioned this to you yesterday. If I was going to overpay for anything, whether it's free agency or a trade, it would be for Dylan Larkin.
Yeah.
That would be the one. If I had to throw an extra prospect in there, I think I would, because I think he would really, somebody like him in the lineup would really vault them back up again.
Yeah.
And if it's going to cost you Murtka and maybe Ostlund or Helenius, maybe you got to do it. If he's willing to waive his no trade to come here, and you still have a lot of prospects around, and I know you hate to do it, but to be able to put that into your lineup when you are an up-and-coming team, you were one overtime goal away from going to the conference finals, and now you've lost who some people would say was your best forward. I think you got to do it. That would be the guy I would overpay for if I had to.
Paul, with that in mind, we were, eventually we got around to, I get in the habit of, like you do, you mentioned, you put the lines together and you've got 5 full lines of forwards, right? I didn't quite get that far, but, Mike and I on the air, we're talking it through, okay, I'm going to put all the centers down here. And so I put, Kulich, Norris, McLeod, and Carrick. And then we started filling in the wingers, and we had mentioned Ostlund's name, but then by the time we got done with the exercise, I didn't have a spot for him, where I ended up was that's why you make a trade involving a couple of these guys for someone that's a proven player, because I don't even know if I've got room for everybody. I don't know what they have in mind for Sam Carrick, but to me, that's a fourth-line center. You re-sign Krebs and Malenstein's here. There's my fourth line. McLeod played almost all year with Zucker and Quinn. There's my third line. I want Doan on an offensive, line. He's with Norris, and that's where I put Helenius, and then Benson, Thompson, and Kulich up top. I don't have room for everyone, I don't think. So that's maybe they'll free that up somehow, but right now there's a lot of bodies.
That's the thing. I sit here and look at these lines, and I got Ostlund with Krebs and Malenstein. I'm going, no.
Right.
That's not where I want to put him.
Right.
I ideally would like to put him in McLeod's slot, because I think McLeod was not anywhere near as good last year as he was the year before. And maybe that's what you do. Maybe because McLeod was down with Malenstein near the end of the playoffs because Lindy Ruff just got tired of it. So maybe that's what you wind up doing there. And I have Carrick centering my fifth line with Danforth and Kozak. So it's going to be a battle for jobs. Injuries, I'm sure, will happen in training camp, so we'll see where that all goes. But I sit here and look where I have Ostlund in my lineup, and I don't like where I have him. So, it's who knows? But everything else you just said would be the same.
Yeah,
that I had.
Real quick on Danforth, is there any question about him continuing his NHL career? Has that come up at all since the season ended? I can't, because he just missed the whole year, and I wonder are they expecting him back for camp?
I think so. A broken kneecap turned into knee surgery also, so he had to have both dealt with.
Right. This
is the second year of a 2-year deal. He's getting paid $1.8 million. Lindy Ruff wanted him in Timmins quite a bit, and then Adams went out and got him. I know, as far as I know, he was expected to come back. He was doing on-ice things near the end of last season.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He never made practice.
Right.
He never made it up to practice, but he was at least back on the ice, doing some things. So, it sounds like he and Kulich. Kulich, he actually had it removed the blood clot, so it's gone. It's not in his body anymore. So he had that surgery to have it removed. So he should be ready to go full speed when they get back here.
Paul, thank you. Enjoy your holiday weekend.
You too, guys. Take care.
All right, there's Paul Hamilton on the Western Hotline. His appearance here on WGR brought to you by Relax Honda. Relax, we got this.
More on the Sabres next with Travis Yost of TSN. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Small moves for the Buffalo Sabres as free agency is in full swing. They signed Aiden McDonough to a one-year, two-way contract. And for more on the last couple of days, including today, the 3v3 tournament to wrap up development camp, Paul Hamilton has pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. The Capitals did get some good news today. Alex Ovechkin signing a one-year deal with Washington after some speculation the 40-year-old would call it a career. And then goaltender Jakub Dobeš has signed a 3-year extension with Montreal, $5.3 million per year. To the World Cup, Spain now starting to get away from Austria, 2-0 here in the second half. At 7 o'clock, Portugal versus Croatia. That one is in Toronto, and the night will wrap up at 11. Switzerland, they go up against Algeria over in Vancouver. While in baseball, Bison's at St. Paul. First pitch tonight, just after 8 o'clock, and you can listen to that one on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
I think that we patched the holes on defense with Olden Zellweger, believing he's a guy that can grow into the role that Bo Byram was at. Probably not there yet. We still have 3 really good defensemen in place. I'd say that's a luxury to have 3 defensemen the level of Rasmus Dahlin, Matthias Samuelsson, Owen Power. We acquired Louis Crevier that can battle for the 4th spot as well. We still have Connor Timmins and Zach Metza. I think our D group is really strong.
Jarmo Kekalainen, are the Sabres still working at a big name in a trade or even a free agent, but I'm not sure what big names that would be after all the dust settled yesterday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, joined now on the West Her hotline by Travis Yost of TSN. Hi, Travis.
Hi, Mike. Hello, Bulldog. How you guys doing?
Hot.
We're good, man. Yeah, there's that.
What's the temperature in the room? What's the latest?
83.
We're up to 83 in the room. Yeah, you know.
The AC's on the fridge. We got a holiday weekend, and that's just how it'd be. So thoughts and prayers to the crew.
Keep that AC at 78. Keep that AC at 78, New Yorkers.
Right.
78.
Yes.
So we read you on Connor Hellebuck and the dilemma, I think I would want to say, that he might be as an idea. Asking this, I hope we can talk about it as if it's not necessarily dead, that he's traded to somebody. It sounded to me very much like Winnipeg wanted to make that trade, and maybe Hellebuck did too. But what are the pros and cons, and how do you see it being that it's July 2nd only, but it kind of feels when it gets past July 1st like the action is mostly done?
It's fascinating because typically I would agree that the likelihood of a post-July 1 trade diminishes because as teams spend up into their cap space, there's just not as much opportunity to take on bigger salaries unless you can find creative deals where you're swapping salary out or third team. So that's pretty consistent with what we've seen in NHL off seasons. I would say this is different, though. I would say this is still as likely to be a trade, and I would say the base case is that he's still traded. I think the real question is the timing of the trade, whether it's now-ish, soon-ish, trade deadline-ish, which is even more tricky. But I think Hellebuck and Winnipeg are headed for a divorce. So one of the things that I think, the Sabres front office is clearly thinking about, and I saw the front office was a little guarded in what they were saying, as they should be, but it seems to me that Winnipeg put up a pretty significant asking price, as they should, by the way. We're talking about a 3-time Vezina winner who is not at all the age of Sergei Bobrovsky, for example. So, they're going to ask for something close to a ransom. And I think it's incumbent on teams to answer 2 questions here. 1, or 3. 1, is he still the guy? 2, what are we willing to give up if he is that guy? And 3, can we play a little bit of chicken here? Because how many teams are ready to sink a bunch of assets into, an elite goalie who is definitely on the wrong side of 30, but is one of one, in my opinion, over the last 8, 9, 10 years. So, if I look at this from the Sabres perspective, I think it's a bit of a waiting game right now. I think Buffalo's read of the situation is we have a compelling package. We can tinker with that package. There's probably some threshold that they're never going to go above, especially coming off of a year where your goaltending for the first time in like 3 decades actually outperformed expectations. And I just think they're kind of in this, what other teams are really out there? And Winnipeg, are you sure we haven't put the best offer on the table? Now, he's still got term on the contract, and Winnipeg could absolutely, sit on their hands and try and make things work with Hellebuck. But, if I look at it from his perspective, whether he's been, a silent supporter encouraging this, kind of to your earlier point, or, how this plays out, Winnipeg's, let's say, prospects over the next couple of years they don't look good. Let's just say that black and white. And you're talking about a goalie who's done everything but win a Stanley Cup. I just can't imagine they're not heading for a divorce. And maybe it's an amicable divorce. And so far it seems like it's been okay. But I think this is still 1A, 1B up there in terms of like things that we keep watching through the summer. I'm not at all convinced that opening a free agency that we're less likely to see something. I don't think in this case. I
don't want to burn too much time on this, but do you have an idea quickly on what happened to Winnipeg? I know they lost Ehlers in free agency last year, but I don't know. They were weren't they like more than 100-point team just a year ago and mostly the same?
It's crazy, right? And not to mention, over this entire period, with the exception of his sophomore year, Hellebuck has been median 90th percentile goaltender. Median 90% is remarkable when you consider the volatility at the position.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's been a little death by 1,000 paper cuts for Winnipeg. This is a team that's been competitive for some time, but Scheifele tapered off a little bit. Wheeler aged out. They start losing pieces on the blue line, which I think, 4 or 5 years ago were a little underrated to their broader success. The defensive core now is rough. I do think it's net better than it was year over year, but it's just been kind of a slow progression to the depths of mediocrity when they had an otherwise competitive lineup. And by the way, I forgot to answer my own point here, but to me, the most important thing here is, if you look at Hellebuck's comparables, and I won't spend a ton of time on the article I wrote. I encourage people to read it on Monday. It's hard to say a 3-time Vezina Trophy winner, superstar goalie, Olympic gold medalist has a ton of comparables, but they are out there. And most of these guys, when they've hit the age of 33-ish, where Hellebuck is right now, they still play pretty well for the next 3 or 4 years. They kind of age from I'm an elite goalie to I'm a pretty good goalie, and I think that's actually informing a lot of the calculus here. And by the way, the two names that jumped out to me when I was doing the comps, Henrik Lundqvist and Roberto Luongo, and I think that those are two absolutely fair comparisons for a goalie the caliber of Hellebuck. Both of them played well, reasonably well, more so Lundqvist into their mid and late 30s. So, even from a time or premium risk with the contract, I think teams are going to, at some point, whether it's the Sabres or someone else, they're going to say, yeah, we're comfortable giving up a couple premium assets here because we're going to get a top 6 goalie in the league.
Last thing for me on Hellebuck. Do you have a thought on what's a decent, respectable trade package from Buffalo to pull this trade off?
Yeah, so, I mean, you're going to have to go first off, when you trade Hellebuck, I mean, he is the Winnipeg Jets at this point. You got to recognize that Winnipeg is effectively saying, look, we're out of the game for the couple of years. They're going to want a first-round pick. They may even want multiple first-round picks, and maybe for some teams that's too far. If you're a team like the Sabres where you've got a decent prospect cupboard, but you've kind of evolved some of these players already to NHL standards, I think it's going to be the classic premium picks and prospect or prospects package. And I know that's very broad, but this is the sort of deal that you see. It's a 3-for-1, a 4-for-1, and it's stacked with first-round picks. And maybe Winnipeg even wants to date those picks out a year or two because Buffalo is already coming off a 108-point season. They're going to add a top 3 goalie in the league at worst as soon as next season. You got to expect that pick is going to be in the low 20s, early 30s. So yeah, there's some certainly paperwork there's some work to be done on this trade and what Kekalainen can pull off here, but it will be expensive. That's to me, that's the important point here is Winnipeg is not going to move Hellebuck, nor should they, unless they are getting that sort of 3-for-1, 4-for-1 type package where it is going to feel like a lot's going out. But what you're getting is a goalie who's going to outperform in just about every scenario. And what's that worth to teams? A lot, if you can predict it.
With Travis Yost, TSN, what are your thoughts on Dylan Larkin, also not yet traded?
That's an interesting one because it's been more vocal in the news, but I also think there are more questions about the player. I think he's a very good player, for the record. Like, I don't think we're nearly as concerned. But my confidence about what Hellebuck would mean to a team versus Larkin, and the teams, by the way, that would want the Larkin, I think we talked about a few of what we thought. One of the interesting things to me here, and it's why I don't think the Hellebuck stuff is dead at all, I thought the two teams that were going to make kind of splashy off seasons, there was three of them, Buffalo, Utah, Anaheim. Anaheim basically sold everything. I mean, they lost everything under the sun, it felt like, and then added an odd stretch of players. San Jose is also in that group where, pre-July 1, fantastic. Then they add like $100 billion in bad defensemen on their blue line. That was odd.
Yeah.
But the other two teams we circled up on were Buffalo, who I still think is sitting in the pole position for Hellebuck, and Utah. And Utah kind of extended themselves a little bit here with the Vinny Trocheck ad and the Anders Lee ad. So they don't have nearly as much cap space. I guess the Mammoth did kind of put their chips in the table, but a player like Larkin could make a ton of sense there. And, they've got an interesting situation on their hands. I don't know how many people in Buffalo saw it, but this is a little inside baseball in some respects. But, New Jersey and Utah apparently had a trade worked out for Barrett Hayton. Young, quality middle six forward. Trade falls through like a lot do at the draft. And Sonny Mehta the following day is like, you know what? We're going to sign him to a 1-year, $4.5 million offer sheet. And of course, every time you're like, of course Utah's going to match that. He's a third-line winger who might even be a second-line winger as soon as next year. The problem is he walks right to free agency. You can't extend him. And, the fact that he signed the offer sheet to begin with kind of makes you think he might have one foot out the door. If a team like Utah says, you know what, we'll move on from Hayton, we'll take that, $4.7 million cap net benefit because we're not signing him to that, and the second-round pick, hey, maybe I'm going to turn around and call Detroit about Dylan Larkin. So I think that's a little less likely in relative terms to a Hellebuck deal, which I know sounds odd because Hellebuck, it would seem like moving a goalie with that salary and that age might be a little trickier, but I wonder if Larkin kind of stretches into the season and what that may look like. And by the way, Detroit is on the short list of dumpster fires right now in the NHL. Yeah. I think that's obvious.
Fun fact, I have somewhere in my phone a video of Barrett Hayton undressing my kid at Sioux Greyhounds development camp in a shootout at the end of the red and white scrimmage. Right? It was right after he was, whatever, the 4th or 5th overall pick, whatever he was, that draft year. He showed up late to training camp for them and undressed my kid.
Come on, there's got to be a saver, too.
Oh, no, he played great. He made the team there, but he got
the kid.
In the shootout. No, I don't know. Maybe. He wasn't there the whole time. It was like he showed up for this game, which was the end of training camp. And
I'm curious, would you guys match that? Would you guys match that offer sheet? I actually think this is a rare instance I'd let him walk. And I know that sounds odd, but I think I'd let him go.
Yeah. Well, the way you lay it out, I mean, it sounds like they'd be renting him for a year, basically. I might rather get a return.
That's exactly
for him.
It.
Right.
And to me, that's why whether it's Larkin or even a secondary player, not Larkin, maybe someone lower on the cap rank, so to speak, but there's an opportunity where Utah could say, I'll take that second-round pick and reinvest that capital into a player that might have 3 years of term left, and he's going to fill that middle six. By the way, I think this is directly segues into my thoughts about the Byram Zellweger gambit that Carolina pulled off, which I thought was incredible. But I think the Utah version of that story is kind of a small version of that.
Gordy Byram? Is that who you mean?
Bowen, Gordy, Byram. Yeah, hey, I got a little fun. The 12 nerds who know what we're talking about here will love this stat, and everyone else will roll their eyes. But goals above replacement, so measuring all the contributions of a player on every game state, including penalties, how they perform special teams. Last 2 seasons, who do you got, Byram or Zellweger?
It's going to be Zellweger. I know you well enough.
It's even on the dot. And I think the point here, by the way, is, okay, maybe if someone's got, it's a hostage situation, I've got a weapon to my head, I'm probably going to pick Byram in a vacuum. But when you consider the salary ramifications between the two, it's extraordinary. Buffalo reaped a ton as part of the trade. I think this was the best move any team made in the last week. I thought what they did, both parlaying his trade out and bringing, I think, an underrated slightly smaller defenseman from Anaheim their way for effectively the cost of a second or third round pick, I think it was, and a prospect. To me, that was beautiful A+ work by Kekalainen.
How are you feeling about the Bills? Bulldog sounds like he's kind of worried sometimes.
I'm a little worried. I think. Well, let me ask you. Let me. This is a second question. I shouldn't even do this, but I feel like we might be headed for a sluggish September, and that's the one thing that's a little concerning. And by the way, schedule the first 6-7 weeks isn't super forgiving.
Crazy.
Very tough schedule. Yeah. Yeah. My whole thing, Travis, on that is just I know you've got Josh Allen, therefore you'll be a contender, and I respect that. But I think it just sort of ignores all the stuff McDermott did get right over the years. And I know he wasn't perfect, and I'm not even belly aching about him not being here anymore. I'm just not assuming a first-time guy is going to have everything buttoned up and have the command and the respect of the room the way that I think McDermott largely did. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't everybody's favorite on the team. It almost defies logic that would be the case because there's so many guys. But I just don't assume that there's going to be this seamless transition just because Brady has been here for a few years.
I agree. And by the way, I think to your point, you could even say, hey, even if Brady does carve out a different niche, because this is a veteran roster, even if that's lesser of a concern, right? Predictability and rigidity with organizations typically is a good thing. And when you make meaningful changes like this, sometimes there are unintended consequences. And by and large, I mean, we should not overlook the fact that Sean McDermott had one of the most winning stretches over the period he was the Bills head coach of any team in the league, right? I mean, Buffalo was, if they weren't number one, they were in the top three for sure in terms of win-loss record since he took over the helm, especially in the post-Josh Allen era. I should emphasize that part. But I think more to the point, even if you assume that's a wash, the 900-pound, elephant in the room that I just have not been able to get past. And I've gotten long past, okay, let's move on from McDermott. Brady's the guy, blah, blah, blah. You sit on it for a day, you move forward. This roster just isn't that good. And this has been the problem for 3 or 4 years now, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And anyone who has fears about pockets of weakness on this roster, which I think should be every Bills fan, to maybe varying degrees, but this is not a top 3 roster in the league, top 5 roster in the league. The problem I've always had is the guy who architected all the personnel decisions for a very long time, not just we're reacting for an 18-month stretch, for a very, very long time, and Brandon Beane still kind of has the keys to the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And that has never sat well with me because I look at this roster now, last year, the year prior, versus where it was the 3 years predating this 3-year stretch, and it's worse. I mean, there's no way about it. And you can how you would apportion or attribute the blame there, the Von Miller contract, some of these moves that didn't pan out. GMs are going to win and lose on deals, but great front offices win more often than not, and I'm not sure the Bills front office has won more often than not. I actually think they've lost more often than they've won, but the great eraser has been Josh Allen in this whole ordeal.
McDermott, 98-50, and that includes Allen's rookie year and the year before, so right on. Travis, thanks for today. Enjoy the 4th.
Have a good holiday, guys.
Travis Yost, TSN. Sal Capaccio coming up in about 15 minutes. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. When I'm not fiddling with my now broken headphone cup, I'm sweating through my Tigers visor today.
Yep.
I don't usually wear this one because it's not as comfortable as most of my others, but, sweep the Yanks.
Gotta love it.
Time to pay some respect.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Sal after, maybe not about the Yankees. We'll talk to Sal after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The first World Cup game of the day goes to Spain as they get a pretty comfortable 3-0 win over Austria. The next one's going to be in about 2 hours at 7, Portugal versus Croatia. That one's in Toronto. Then the night's going to wrap up at 11, Switzerland. They go up against Algeria over in Vancouver. To the Sabres, they wrapped up their development camp today with the 3v3 tournament. For more on that and the signing of Aiden McDonough to a 1-year, 2-way contract, Paul Hamilton has pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. There is another big signing in the NHL today. It's the Capitals, as they get some good news. Alex Ovechkin signs a 1-year deal with the team after some speculation the 40-year-old would call it a career. And goaltender Jakub Dobeš signs a 3-year extension with Montreal, $5.3 million per year. Then in baseball, Bison's at St. Paul. First pitch for that one just after 8 o'clock. And you can listen over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Always a good day to talk to Sal. This time of year, we have to dig a little deeper, but that's just fine. I was looking up, I guess this would have been Tuesday night during or after ADP chasing, the MVP odds, because we were talking about the Chargers. And remember, Sam Monson voted for Justin Herbert last year for the MVP, and I respect him a great deal. I think you do too. Mm-hmm. The guys on my other show just make fun of it constantly, that Herbert got the vote for the MVP. And this year I feel like he might be a great bet. But he is the third favorite. He's no
dark. You're not
he's
getting any
no
value.
dark horse.
There's no value there. Yeah, right.
Allen, Burrow, Herbert is the list I saw. Let's bring Sal in, see what he thinks about that. I mean, I'm not sure if you want to look at this from a betting standpoint or not, Sal, but from that standpoint, it's not great value on a guy that's barely even. I mean, it was considered pretty strange that he got even one vote ever in his career. That was last year. But I kind of like the idea of Herbert. How about how would you size up MVP?
Yeah, I've seen, and I'm looking at Allen Jackson Herbert, then Burrow.
Okay.
In Mahomes. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know.
Different,
if you saw something different.
Different houses, different stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I think the consensus from what I've seen lately, and I think Josh Allen has just as good of a look at it as anybody. So does Lamar Jackson. I think those would be your, probably top two guys. I think Mahomes normally would be there, obviously, but we just don't know about the injury. If we knew Mahomes was healthy, it would be different. If we know Mahomes is healthy 2 weeks into the preseason, he probably jumps into that group, I would say. I think that's the only thing holding him back right now. Burrow has a chance to obviously put up monster numbers at any point, and that could always fluctuate. A lot of that is team success. We don't know. The thing about Allen is team success. They've had it. They are also the Bills. It's funny you say this. Matt Bove and I just did a podcast today, and we talked about, and I asked him about, do you think that the Bills being the co-favorites of the, AFC to win the AFC is justified right now? Because they are. And that ties into Allen. Mm-hmm. If the Bills do have the kind of season they normally have had, Allen's going to be right there again.
You're right that Jackson is consensus number 2. I flipped him. FanDuel goes Allen, Jackson, May, Stafford, Burrow, Herbert. So that might be the best you can do on Herbert.
That's maybe where you want to go shopping then.
But yeah, May is the shortest of any site on that site. I mean, he really could have won last year. He was barely second. He arguably should have, based on some of the numbers. So, yeah, interesting. I just feel like listen, I'm gullible, right? I always admit it. It's the Chargers. I'm doing it again.
Right. It's not just you. I think collectively, I feel like I want to even just say we fall for it. We all have probably taken a turn falling for it. And one of these times, right, it's going to be correct.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
I might die first. I don't know. Chargers,
Well,
Jets, Browns.
I like the conversation. Again, it's so funny you talk about this. We just had this conversation today in the pod, and I'm going to ask you guys something I asked Matt Bove, which is, like, you might already know this by looking at it, 'cause you probably looked at it in some capacity. give an idea of where Joe Brady ranks for Coach of the Year odds.
Oh, now that is good.
I don't have the slightest idea.
It would be pretty high.
Right.
It would be pretty high.
Because he's a first-year head coach.
First-year head coach and offense. Like he'll get credit. He'll get more credit for Allen's year if Allen has a big year than McDermott ever did.
That's exactly the point that I made to Matt. Like Joe Brady has a better look at Coach of the Year than Sean McDermott really ever had, because McDermott was sustained success. Kind of there's a floor. We know that. Brady comes in like, well, I don't know. Oh my God! And if he has a really great year, even if he has the same year Sean McDermott has had, he will have more of a chance, I think, to win Coach of the Year than McDermott had. Now, that said, he is generally listed in the top 5. I've seen anywhere from 3 to 5. Harbaugh is usually number 1. Jesse Minter is usually number 2.
Jim Harbaugh.
Then it's
right?
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh is number 1?
Yes.
With the Giants.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I mean, that I guess you can figure that out. It'd be a big comeback. Anyway.
So Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, and then it's Brady, Robert Salah, and Kellen Moore kind of in a grouping.
The competition comes down to the coach of the Ravens and the ex-coach of the Ravens.
Right.
I don't know.
There you go.
I am not optimistic for the Giants. I don't think John Harbaugh is a great idea. I think he's kind of, for me, he works as kind of a figurehead, as a symbol, and that organization could use that. But Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator of the Giants. The quarterback's iffy. The best receiver might be hurt. The best running back might be hurt. And then what am I doing? Then I'm throwing the ball to, Theo Johnson. I feel like it could go. I like the Jets more than the Giants this year.
It's so funny, everything that happened with the Giants and Joe Shane, and people wanted him out. The Giants fans very much, wanted to change there. And then, Harbaugh gets hired and was very, I think universally, okay, yeah, that you guys got
Makes
a really
sense.
good coach,
Right.
good coach in the market. But it was like diminishing Shane. Like, okay, his role is totally diminished. He's no longer the GM. Harbaugh's kind of running the show there. And then Joe Shane gets a 2-year contract extension, or a multi-year contract extension, I should say. So like they went out and said, oh, we're gonna keep Joe Shane around for a while. I think he's actually longer than 2. But either way, it was kind of interesting how all that happened. And Shane was considered really to be the guy that will maybe acquiesce to, Harbaugh having more of a power and authority. And maybe that's the case. I don't know. But for the Giants to go out and do that was really interesting.
Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline with us here on WGR. Not exactly MVP related, but we have a new bet on the bet board in here, Sal. I don't know how often you look at the bet board, but it just came up in conversation. We did reverse AFC power rankings this week, and I feel pretty good about Cincinnati. I know there's always going to be questions about their defense, but they did make that move for Dexter Lawrence, and I think that's a hellraiser in the middle of that defensive line. It's got to lift the boats a little bit for that defense, and I just think Burrow with the weapons just it's a team I would want to bet on. So I bet Mike that the Bengals will have a better record than Houston. How do you feel about what side of that I'm on?
I'd have to go and look at the schedules. Do we know? Have you guys looked at that at all? Like,
I don't consider things like that.
Those divisions play each other because the Bills play the AFC West. So those divisions play each other.
I like the bet for you, Bulldog. I think Cincinnati, to me, like, oh my gosh, Houston's defense can be amazing, right? It's kind of they're the opposite teams here.
Yeah.
Right? Cincinnati has this incredible offense and a defense that, like you said, maybe they get a couple of pieces that can really help, but man, what are they really looking at there? Houston's the other way around. Their defense looks amazing. We all know, we've seen it up close firsthand against the Bills, but man, their offense really struggled towards the end of the year. CJ Stroud, they still have not come to a contract agreement, and there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen and where that's going to go, and that should tell you a lot right there of how that's kind of going down right now. So I think I like your bet of Cincy only because I will bet on the upside of the offense and Joe Burrow. Even if Houston's defense is really good, I don't know if they have quite the offense that they should have. So I like that bet for you, but it should be that should be a fun one. Now, the real big question there is, can Burrow stay healthy, which has been an issue in the past, and a lot of that has been because of their offensive line, which actually did stabilize a bit more last year.
The AFC North Bengals would also play the NFC South. I know that from the Ravens. So that's a pretty good draw. If you get the 2 Souths, for those AFC North teams.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good draw.
Right.
Zach Taylor, I'm looking at Coach of the Year again since Sal brought that up. Zach Taylor plus 4,000, very much in the middle to the bottom. D'Amico Ryan's the same plus 4,000. The last, I don't know, I could be tempted. The last name on the list, the highest odds in the NFL.
Oh boy,
is last year's winner, Vrabel.
And it has to be partly because of
Totally.
everything that's happened, because you don't are you betting on someone that maybe at this point people say, well, could something happen there, he doesn't survive the season, then he's got no shot, right? I don't know.
Look at the teams at the bottom are all the good teams. Well, not all. New England, Philadelphia, Denver, Seattle, Kansas City, Rams. These are the coaches. These are the best coaches in the league.
We expect you to be good, therefore your coach is disqualified from winning the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
If you're one of the best coaches in the league, the one thing we have to agree on is you cannot win the Coach of the Year this year.
Yeah, I get tied up with that because I do believe that a Coach of the Year should be a coach that has done more with less. It's a coach that's really done a good job. You haven't given him the greatest tools, but he's done a really good job. At the same time, I don't think that's impossible to do with a really good team. If you have a really good team, you can also do a really good job. I mean, it was always something about I would used to hear something about how the magic of Phil Jackson was that he could coach Michael Jordan, and that that he had to navigate through coaching the best player and some of the best teams in the world. And that might be just people propping him up, but I totally get it. Sometimes there is something to that.
Well, for us older fellas, that was a lot of what you'd hear about Marv Levy over the years, or maybe even more so maybe once his career was done as the Bills head coach. It was like his and I remember hearing this from the players themselves. That's probably where it started, because I think players started saying it we were not an easy bunch to handle. There were a lot of egos and a lot of alphas, and he knew how to just get out of the way when he needed to get out of the way and when to step in and say the right thing. And there's a touch to that. Not everybody can master that kind of that many personalities.
I think the problem there, though, Bulldog, is when you're 100% right that you don't see that from the outside enough, right? Who would see that in most markets or voters who are voting on it? Yeah, it's easy to kind of say in concept, and it's probably true, but unless you're there every day and understanding what's happening, it's probably hard for you to really recognize that.
I love when Levy's name comes up. Head coach, high school football, 1951. He'll be 101 a month from tomorrow.
Amazing.
Marv.
Beautiful.
Back to MVP now, if you don't mind this sort of roller coaster ride here with awards.
Yeah.
We're getting our taste of Sam Panayotovich, so to speak, without having the show tomorrow, talking the awards markets with Sal, which is fun. Allen as the favorite. So you brought up Brady, Sal, as this is different. If the Bills have a coach that's sort of high ranking on the Coach of the Year odds, Allen at the top, it's obviously well established what his ceiling looks like. I wonder if is this a couple things? Are the bettors or the voters ready to go to him for a second time? They did that with Jackson, and it wasn't even Jackson's best year, but he still got the second MVP in his pocket. And I wonder just what kind of season it would need to be for Allen. It's always a quarterback. It's always a quarterback of a team that wins big in the regular season. That was true of the Rams. Again, that was true of Stafford last year. So in that respect, Allen is, of course, well-positioned. That's why he's the favorite. I wonder just how it'll feel if we get close to the end this year and the Bills are the Bills in contention with a half dozen other teams and MVP candidates. And we're talking about Allen in terms of whether he wins a second. Because I think the fact that he's got one probably hurts him in voting if it's close.
Ooh, it might. I mean, guys have been multiple winners, right, throughout their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of them. Aaron Rodgers has won multiple MVPs.
Jackson,
you
Mahomes.
said it, Lamar. Mahomes, obviously, Super Bowl's there too. But so what I find interesting is Allen won it in 24, right? 2024 was his MVP season. And that was his worst number of yards passing since his second year in the league. 1, 2, 3, 4 years of over 4,000, 4,200 yards. He has 3,700. He has also the fewest amount of touchdown passes that he had in that. The one thing that he did was the thing that people criticized him for. He didn't throw interceptions.
Turn it over. Right?
Well, there it is.
And That's right. And I think that was really kind of what vaulted him in a lot of voters' minds to me, which was, wow, he's not throwing interceptions, even though he didn't have the huge numbers in touchdowns and yards. We might be past that now, where I think if Josh can put together a 44, 4,500 yard season, that's what gets him more than fewer interceptions. Because I actually believe with Joe Brady coaching him, I'm going to predict that Josh's numbers are going to spike in both the positive and negative categories.
Well, this is a touch of Coach of the Year because, as we always say, and we talked about a few minutes ago, Coach of the Year is, in all sports, it tends to be how much better was your team than we thought. And the Allen point you're making is a form of that. Well, this is what we thought. This is what we thought of your reputation, and you did X to improve. So here you go. Here's your award. They did not want to give Jackson a third. Like that was his best year. 40-4 was the year Allen won, and they just weren't. And it was close, but they were not going to give him a third. I'm still sore about John Cooper.
Back at history, and if you look back at history, and you just reversed the 23 and 24 MVPs,
you'd be fine.
And no one knew anything about how it all went down. No one would have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder, like Mike just said. I mean, I know Lamar did get a second one without having been to a Super Bowl, but I wonder about, with the controversy that there was when Allen won it because of the year Lamar had, whether voters would think giving Allen a second one before he reaches a Super Bowl is just like too much.
But they have to vote before that.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, so you're voting not knowing he's going to get there, and that might hold you back. He hasn't even been to a Super Bowl yet, and I'm going to give him a second MVP. Let me find somebody else.
Well, you do have Burrow is right there. Herbert is almost right there. Guys that have been knocking around at it, but just not winning. Guys that, especially quintessentially Burrow, that people think is literally great, elite, but. Yes. His teams have not won enough, so he can't seem to get to this thing. May could have won last year right there. Prescott's been worthy of being in the conversation more than once. So you have other names, Caleb Williams, maybe. You have other names of guys that have not won it yet that are worth considering for it. Sal, you watch some hockey today?
I did. I went down to Harbor Center. Yeah, I'm thinking about for a second. Wait a minute. What was on TV? No. Yeah, I went to the took Max down to the 3-on-3 scrimmage. It was a great atmosphere. A lot of people there.
Jealous because it had to be 30 degrees cooler than it is in this room right now.
Yeah,
that was a great move. Going to watch the Sabres today. That was a great move.
Bravo, Sal.
What's our number right now?
83 degrees.
Still hanging in there at 83.
Hanging in there at 83 degrees. Yeah.
It was fun.
I'll tell you, the barometric pressure is, I don't know, sorry.
They used to do the 3 teams, though. They only had 2 teams now. They didn't have as many guys there, I think, as the normal in years past. They used to do a
white, blue, and gold. Yeah.
Correct.
Right?
Now it was just blue and gold, and they played more of a, like they had 2 halves, 2 like 20-minute halves, I think it was. I can't remember. But either way, they did 2 halves instead of 3 separate games and figuring out, and having a champion at the end. And, you like to kind of see these guys and what they look like up close a little bit. You can't really judge. It's the same thing when we go into rookie mini camp, and I'm not really watching the guys that the Bills that they brought in necessarily that aren't the draft picks that we're focused on. But when you do focus on a Rudolph, I mean, this Kleber kid he was impressive.
6'6".
Yeah, he moves. And I know he's not like known as a speedster, I don't think, like from what I read, but he was moving very well. Now, granted, look at the competition he's playing against in this particular, environment. But man, for a defenseman, big, he's got hands. That was really nice to see. And how really awesome and cool was it to see, Marty Biron's kid in the net.
Right.
And Marty afterwards taking a picture. I got to meet Jacob, and I think I might have met Jacob years ago, but I got to talk with him a little bit after. And for him to be in the Army, in the Army, playing hockey, doing what he's doing is just, that's just super cool in all aspects.
You took some pictures of goalies, including Jacob. They're giant.
They are. He is. He's 6'4", yeah.
So much taller than the net.
He is big. And I took a picture of Samuel Milosh. I had read, I made a mistake. I tweeted out he was Gilles Milosh's grandson because I thought I read that, but apparently it was erroneous because I checked into it and they are not related. But it just reminded me, Gilles Melange was like one of the first goalies I ever remember in hockey. And partly because of his name was Melange, and he had a great mustache, right? And it was like Melange and mustache and went together. And then he had I'm looking up pictures of these incredible masks he wore when he was with the Cleveland Barons, for crying out loud. I think.
Yes. I would have possibly made matters worse for you on that, because when I saw that from you, I went to my basement to look for a card to tweet for card of the day with Gilles Melange. Any chance, like you're feeling, any chance you can get to tweet Gilles Melange, you want to do that. But I got sidetracked, and then by the time I thought of it again, you had corrected yourself on that. But Minnesota, Melange, his son did play in the NHL.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Eric Melange. All right, Sal, what do you do for the 4th?
We normally don't host, but we are hosting this year. A lot of times my mom will have, some family over, but we are hosting this year at our place, and we decided to have some people over. And I live in the city and near the border, so it's kind of like fireworks week out here.
The west, Canada. The west side is
the west side is bumping at 4th of July, so we don't have to shoot anything off in our yard. That's not my deal anyway. I'm just gonna walk down to the end of my street, and there's gonna be fireworks everywhere, basically. So that's what we're gonna do.
I think you can pretty much count on it. Yeah,
that's right.
That's absolutely right.
The 4th versus Memorial Day. At least you get a weekend with this one, but it is so hot, and the fireworks do not help. Maybe it'll cool off by Saturday. Oh, or I don't know, actually, if it is expected to do that. Or
if only there were a way to find out.
There's no way to find out. Right on. Bang. Sal, thanks for your time.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
All right, have a good weekend. This is Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? I tell you what the weather forecast is for the weekend, but my glasses just got all fogged up because it's so friggin' hot in here. I can't see right now, so I'm a little
literally.
Literally, my glasses are fogged up. High of 83 Saturday, so that's a little cooler than it's been the last couple days.
Storms,
rain
Sunday.
Yeah.
Top 4th of July food. You go to Sal's picnic party. What's the one thing? I mean, you're assuming a few things. Maybe I don't mean this on Sal. Maybe you're assuming hot dogs and hamburgers. You go to a 4th of July, somebody's house for 4th of July, you're kind of assuming that. It's not going to be bone-in ribeye.
Probably not lasagna.
Probably not lasagna.
Yeah.
The cold, what?
Imagine it's like 85 degrees
Lasagna.
in the blazing sun, and you've got a plate full of lasagna.
Hey, I made chili.
You're in shorts.
It's 4th of
and a
July.
Tank top and flip-flops, and you're eating lasagna.
It's chili and mashed potatoes tonight, folks. Thought I'd mix it up. Lasagna.
What you got on the grill? Lasagna.
Yeah, it's grilled lasagna.
It's coming right up.
Yeah.
The cheese is almost done melting. Just be another minute for the lasagna. It's got to sear it.
I think that seared lasagna. We're getting delirious in the heat.
I can't see.
You can't see. Dripping in sweat. G even came in and turned the lights off. He feels so bad. He took the lights away. He's put them away. The key to hosting on the 4th, food-wise, is the cold salads. And you got to be careful with that if it's hot.
That's right.
Like you get a potato salad with mustard.
Can't just have that out
in the heat
too long. No.
You got to be careful. Pasta salad with the swirly noodles.
Yeah.
Rotini.
Oh, sure, that's what you want. Yep.
And the little blocks of mozzarella cheese. Maybe some grape tomatoes. Like that's a good salad.
You're making me miss the cookouts we used to have at the cottage here.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Macaroni salad, of course.
Yep.
Potato salad, fine. I mean, you can miss on potato salad, I think.
Not if my mom's making it. She never misses.
Too much dill.
Give me no dill. One of the first sources of conflict in my marriage, I'm not kidding you, was dill in those kinds of salads.
Really?
It's like, what are we doing here? And then one of our friends' wives showed up with like basically the potato salad that was my mom's potato salad. I'm like, see, now this is how it's done. There's no dill in here. I don't need dill. If I want dill, I'll have some pickles. I don't need dill in the salad.
Interesting. You know what you got to get right with that one? The size of the potato cubes.
Oh yeah.
Can't be too small, can't be too big. They're sometimes too big.
Yeah, not if you know what you're doing.
And hard-boiled egg is in there.
Oh, yeah. It's a must.
And dill. Or not.
Get the hell out of here with dill.
What about pickle relish in the potato salad? Would you?
I don't have it. It might be fine, but I don't really need it. I don't know that I've ever had it. I'm a pretty plain, you grew up in a house. My mom's potato salad was pretty, maybe people would criticize it as bland, but it's what I grew up with and what I want. I don't want added flavors in there. It just sort of throws me off.
Why has no one ever attempted a combined macaroni potato salad? Would there just be no chance that would be good? Potatoes in a macaroni salad or vice versa? There's just it's such conflict. You can't do that. I'm not saying you should.
I don't know.
Curious.
I'm really sitting with this question.
Why does it ever not come
more
in together?
so than I would with how do I think the Sabres should fix their power play? I really want to dig in.
What is it about the potatoes and the pasta? I mean, they're just too similar. Starch.
I think it's just easy enough to make them both, and you can combine them on your plate if you want anyway.
But no one ever does.
No,
you never see that.
Not intentionally. I mean,
you never see that.
Sure, you get a bite with both in there on occasion because, the proximity of one another.
Important stuff.
Yeah.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. More after the update here on WGR.
Bit of a break in the World Cup action today. We've got one game in the books. Spain comfortably takes down Austria 3-0. At 7, we'll have the second game of today, Portugal versus Croatia. That one in Toronto, and then the night's going to wrap up at 11. Switzerland goes up against Algeria over in Vancouver. For the United States, they're not back in action again until Monday, but then they will have their round of 16 game against Belgium, the team they fell in 2014. Monday's game will be in Seattle. Around the NHL, Capitals got some good news today. Alex Ovechkin signing a one-year deal after there was some speculation that the 40-year-old would call it a career. And goaltender Jakub Dobeš signs a 3-year extension with Montreal, $5.3 million per year. Then in baseball, Bison's at St. Paul. First pitch for that one just after 8 o'clock, and you can listen to that over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
First NHL game was against the Sabres. Yeah, that was a whirlwind. We came back from Abbotsford and with San Diego Gulls, so I got called up, and I think we ended up winning that game. Anaheim did. So yeah, it was good. It was a good game. I was just happy, my family got to be there and got to experience that. Overall, it was a great experience.
New Sabre Olen Zellweger. I looked him up the other day for how his career started and saw that I think it was his first point was on a goal scored by Sam Carrick for Anaheim.
Okay.
Were you here for that exciting moment?
No, I was not. That would have been last Friday when they made the trade probably, and I was busy riding my bicycle last Friday.
That's right. It was an assist on a Carrick goal against the Sabres in Anaheim.
All right.
At a 10 o'clock start, which makes it very likely I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, I am as much as not feeling great about nothing being done up front. There's always been an argument that they had enough internally, and if they really believe that, then maybe they'll just go with it. But I happen to believe they were trying to get Dylan Larkin and whatever else they were attached to. Or not Dylan Larkin, Matthew Nyes, because their name was prominently mentioned there. So I think mostly they were open to trying to improve there, and now are going to tell us, oh, we knew all along we had enough. Okay. But I do like the Zellweger. I think that was right away, that trade is made. And we talked to Travis Yost an hour ago, and he's like, maybe my favorite move made so far in the offseason by any team. Is replacing Byram
the two together
with Zellweger, right?
Yep.
What they got in the return for the trade, and I'm there too. I think there's, growth has to happen. I don't think this guy is not as finished maybe as a guy like Byram was at the stage of his career that he was when he left here, but I think it's a very reasonable bet to make. To me, I have no problem with them saying, "Hey, okay, we've got our Byram replacement here, or at least we're confident between the two guys, Crevier, and so like one of the two is going to be good enough at playing that way." My money would be on Zellweger, but we'll see. Paul likes to make the point about the lefty versus righty thing, which would be achievable with Crevier playing with power. But either way, I think they did a good job there. Like I didn't need them to go. Didn't get a chance to really follow up, but Travis mentioned the Sharks. Like I've been crushing on the Sharks. The draft picks, they've got elite talent. They were very close to making it this year. Celebrini already is getting MVP consideration. Like he's a rock star, and they got a lot of other really, really nice high-end young pieces. What they did with their blue line, especially Trouba. Nurse is a weird case because I think Nurse is okay if he were making $6 million, but he's making $9.25, and he got paid off a 20% shooting season that was completely unsustainable, and anyone with a brain knew it. And Edmonton just did it. Like, oh, we've got our cornerstone defenseman. Nope. So San Jose takes that on. If they can afford it, because all the young guys are making $1 million, okay, maybe it won't sting that bad. Trouba getting $8.25. Like, I wanted to ask Travis, but I didn't want to dwell on stuff that didn't have to do with our team.
Or the Bills.
Like, what are we just being gaslit? Like, I think it was obvious he was shot before he left the Rangers. And that was two years ago at least. I cannot believe a team in 2026 is choosing to pay that man $8.25 million a year on a multi-year contract. It might be, in my opinion, like Travis said, he liked the Sabres move there with Byram and Zellweger. The Trouba move might be my hardest for me to understand how a team got to that as an idea. I don't know. Weird.
Mike Greer.
Yeah.
Ryan is next. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, guys. Yeah, just want to comment on. Hey, thanks for taking my call. Just want to comment on the conversation you guys had prior to the break with the 4th of July foods. A couple awkward foods here.
All right.
Well, one thing we had a couple of years ago. We had a few friends in from Vegas. Long story short, we had a full Thanksgiving dinner, baked turkey, the whole shebang, the cranberry sauce, gravy, and it was 90 degrees outside. We're all eating outside. A full Thanksgiving dinner. So now the joke is, happy Thanksgiving during 4th of July.
Was that intentional? Like to see if it would be funny?
No, it was just
maybe you haven't seen these people for holidays, and you wanted to have the holiday with them, even though. Yeah.
Wow.
It was just something my mother-in-law would do. I thought it was kind of funny to share with you guys.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to get you in any trouble with your mother-in-law, but that sounds awful. I mean, that is very adjacent to the lasagna idea I had during the last segment. No thanks.
Hot soup. Yeah, don't get cute.
Yeah,
on 4th of July.
Obviously, burgers, dogs, easy. I think like you can screw ribs up, but if you know at all what you're doing. Like, you can slow cook them in an oven and then finish them on the grill, and they're falling off the bone, and you're home free. And you'll get a lot of credit for having something other than burgers and dogs, and they're delicious, melt in your mouth. It's a grueling time behind the grill, cooking them. Believe me, I know. I'd cook them for 70 people on 4th of July weekend. But it's a good, to me. You get a lot of them. I don't think it has to be terribly expensive. And the prep is not, again, there's a couple of steps, but an idiot like me can do it, and it comes out very good almost every time.
Don't forget ice. Easy to forget ice. For your cooler, and then even give your fridge and freezer a break.
I don't know if we gave instructions to you and your group when you would come to this party that we used to have at the cottage. But there were designated ice carriers.
Ice people.
Like
Icemen.
You're coming, do me a favor, grab a couple bags of ice. Hey, you as well.
Iceman.
Right? Everybody's going to bring their beer and to share and everything, so there's a ton of that. Man, we need ice.
Right. Because you'd have beer set up in like 5 different coolers.
Right.
So you would need ice for all of them.
Yes.
Today in baseball, we had the fastest pitch ever.
Again?
Yes.
Didn't the dude just do 105.3 last week?
Mizorowski?
Yeah.
106.3 today.
Oh my gosh.
106. Is that even different than 105 or 100 or 97?
I don't know. How do you hit that? How do you wait to see the ball and hit that?
The clip, if it's of that particular pitch, was a home run.
Ha!
I'm looking at Steve Palazzolo.
That's kind of
Someone
incredible.
tweeted the video with the line, "What can't he do?" And Steve wrote, "Beat the Reds." The Reds won 7-2 in this game. I don't know. Was that the 106 that just Sal Stewart took out to right center?
Wow, I love it.
Seventh pitch of the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Mizorowski of Milwaukee,
right,
who have, I think, the second best record in the majors, before today's loss at least. One is the Dodgers. Yeah, game and a half better than Milwaukee. Wow, the Dodgers, what a story. Are we not all completely bored with them by now? Or
yeah.
Ohtani sort of saves, I don't know, they have likable players. Ohtani, Freeman, Betts are likable players.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But winning like this does get old. And, you can suffer from Chiefs fatigue with the Dodgers. They're going for 3 straight.
I just watched this video again. Sorry to interrupt you. The pitch that was hit out, it said 102.
Okay. I didn't see that on
in the
there.
little score box. It was quick. Just as he hit it, they flashed it up there, and then they showed.
Well, was the tweeter playing games? What can't he do?
Yeah.
It's the fastest pitch ever recorded, and it's taken out for a homer by the Reds.
Just watching it again. Yeah, 102. I think, no, they wouldn't throw the exit velocity up on that already that fast, would they?
Maybe. Andrew's worried about Skeens.
Yeah, I know. No, the exit velocity is shown after, and it's also 102, so I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Skeens, I saw a little thing on him today, sort of still shotting through his mechanics, through his delivery, and that like something subtly has changed in his wrist, like at the very top, just as he's getting ready to release. They're showing a difference that this whatever this account was supposing that he's changed that for longevity and health reasons, and therefore is lost some velocity. Like it was 103 last year, and now it's like 97 or 96, and that this little thing that, again, maybe he's doing intentionally so as to not put as much strain on his arm is costing him velocity.
I texted Andrew last night to tell him that I was betting the tie in the U.S. game, 1-1. I bet 1-1. And he responded with, I'm worried about the game and Skeens. It turned out that you didn't have to worry too much about the soccer game.
No.
They were clearly better.
Right.
Even when down a man for 30 minutes, got there pretty nicely, U.S. So great job. They'll play Belgium on Monday night. And that was we did not get deeper on Skeens, but I know he tweeted something too.
Yeah.
Did he pitch last night or yesterday?
I think the highlight that I saw was from yesterday.
At the Phillies?
Yeah.
Yeah, last night. That's right. It was on before soccer last night. We'll take a break and then talk some more. Thanks for listening. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
It was sort of a shag rug, right? The logo
Yes.
you're talking about that was
Yes.
on the Sabre logo that was on the wall in that interview room was like a sort of a fuzzy, furry rug looking thing.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Were you ever in there?
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
I never had any media experience at the Odd.
I started, I interned in the summer of '94 with Howard at WBEN, and for the '95 season, I think '95, '96. I was down there a lot. I was in the room I did a lot of work down there. In fact, I remember leaving. Maybe this was at the end of the '94, '95 season. I still was just like part-time guy, didn't have a show yet, and it was like end of the they'd lost whatever the end of the season, locker clean out, news conference day that day, and I remember walking past John Muckler, the late John Muckler. I don't know who else was standing there. And as I walked by, like someone in the group acknowledged me walking by, like nodded at me. And I just said, "Have a great summer." And as I walked past, I thought, was that a jerky thing to say to the hockey people? Like, did it sound like I was making fun of them because their season's
your
over?
golf season has started?
Right. Like, I hope your golf clubs are... Like, I remember I was so, new, raw. I wasn't that young. I was, already 30 years old, but, easily intimidated by the hockey people. And I just thought, did I just do a jerky thing? As I'm walking out of the Odd, going to get my car and go home. I'm sure it was fine, but I just remember being very self-conscious about, did I just crap talk John Muckler? Like, I didn't mean to. That wasn't my intent.
What kind of times did you have with him? Any? Many?
I mean,
one.
I had him on my nighttime show a few times. Always fine,
Yeah.
really. But he could be I don't think I ever asked him a question in a news conference setting. I think I was too.
You better ask a good one.
I was just too nervous, I think, and new. I just let other people that seemed more like seasoned pros. Going back that far, like he and I don't know if people would remember this. I mean, maybe you just had to be in the room. Like he and Mike DeGeorge, who worked at Channel 2 at the time, like had a thing. They were like there was sparring that would happen between the two of them, and like I wanted no part of that. Like who am I? I'm not throwing my hat in that ring. I just all right. I'm rolling on this. Howard will get whatever he wants for his sportscasts out of this, but I am not asking John Muckler about his power play.
Somebody else can do that.
Right.
I had one kind of jerky thing moment in the hallway at the arena, but it wasn't the same as yours. It was when the Sabres beat the Flyers 8-0 to win that series in 2001. Mm-hmm. I talked about this game like I was too big of a baby to like just go to the game. I only wanted to go once they got a big lead. And then I wanted to be down there, and I was different then. Like I had players I considered friends, and I kind of wanted to be around that for the celebration. And you'd walk by all the Philadelphia room to get to the Sabres room. Mm-hmm. And Bobby Clark and Lauren Hart, the anthem singer, who's still wonderful, still great, were standing together in the hallway. And you don't say anything, you're not there to chirp the Flyers,
right?
Even if it is Bobby Clark.
Right.
But I just spotted, like Lauren Hart was to his right, which was sort of hidden in a little doorway area as you walk by there. And I saw her and I went, "That's Lauren Hart." And, she looked at me. I'm like, "I'm sorry," and kept walking. I did not mean for that to be out loud.
Right. And Bobby Clark was
that was exciting.
Going, I'm Bobby Clark.
See, I was happy with that.
Like, what's your...
That part felt good.
Yeah, right.
That I didn't even acknowledge Bobby Clark.
Right.
Who's Bobby Clark? That's Lauren Hart. She outranks you in my world. Yeah, she's still performing the anthem at the Flyers.
Saw her during the playoffs.
And it's her...
God Bless America during the playoffs.
God Bless America.
Yeah, Kate Smith.
And it's her anthem in Miracle.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Even if it is at Madison Square Garden. It's the scene where they get destroyed.
Oh, right.
By the Soviets
the
at
last
MSG.
Exhibition before the Olympic Games.
And they have her singing the anthem before that game. What a great movie.
I should see it again. I saw it once, I think, when it came out, and I'd never have revisited it.
I think I'm pretty much once a year on Miracle. It has Lauren Hart in it.
Well, there you go.
And Al.
That's right.
How do you beat that combo? Our combo, Paul and Sal, just pounding out the appearances all these years. Paul Hamilton's visit on the Sabres prospects after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.